looks like we've got enough members to have a quorum here, so Edmund Guthrie Regional Airport Advisory Board is in session. It looks like, did we have any public comments?
No.
Okay. Approval of the minutes of the last meeting, January the 13th.
I move we accept as written.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor say aye.
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 Carried.
How many do we need?
Four. Yeah, we've got a quorum. Discussion of the airport pilot lounge project, or no, your monthly.
We'll do the monthly
Yeah.
report, all right. I'll skip the projects, because we are gonna hit those here in a bit. Hangar development, Mr. Bob Sheehan's still working on his. I'm sure you saw it when you were coming in. They're getting ready to put the skin on there, finishing up, squaring all the old metal up, and then I'll get the skin on it. It should be underway soon with the weather being cooperative. Matt Cole is also working on his hangar and getting everything ready. We're working with him right now. He's considering reopening a gate that was closed a few years back to provide access to that hangar. They closed it off for security concerns, so that's something we're keeping in mind. We don't want traffic driving across the ramp, but as it is, will be an active business, whereas Pipeline Patrol basically said they didn't need that access anymore. They closed it off. With the flight school being an active business, needing a little bit of parking area and trying to prevent cars from driving out onto the ramp, we're looking at ways that we can do that, and he's being real forward and optimistic about it, and it looks like something that should be able to be done. Most of that will be paid for out of their pockets for wanting to do that, because basically the airport's already put the expense in doing that, so.
And the gate's still there?
The gate's still there. There's still a lot of stuff that's still there, so we're trying to figure out exactly what we need to make it back into an operating gate.
Okay.
And so, like I said, safety's ultimately and security are ultimately the big concerns there.
It's been closed for a long time.
For a long time, do you remember, Gail?
Yeah, it's probably been 5, 6 years.
Oh, okay.
Hadn't been much more than that.
Okay.
I don't-
Yeah, because I think when they basically installed it with the gate when they did the fence in 2004 or 5, and then shut it because they didn't need it.
Yeah, came in with a new fence, and Airco had something to do with that, didn't they, as far as?
Did they?
I think so.
That's a little bit before my time, so.
I don't recall whether Airco had anything. Very well could have.
So,
I can't remember either.
like I said, just looking at it, how we can do it safe and secure. As far as buildings and grounds, we've done our 4 CPI adjustments on the hangars that were in rotation this year. As you know, it's every 5 years, each hangar undergoes a CPI adjustment, and we had 4 come due. Basically increased the total dollar amount from those 4 was $86.14, and that was a 10.5% CPI adjustment. Basically, it's just each year's added up, and we calculate it from there. We had some issues with the runway lights this month. We had 2 transformers blow up, and our transformers are direct buried into the ground. We didn't know exactly where they were, and so we had to call the electricians out to come trace the wires and figure that out. Fortunately, after it basically took us a day and a half to figure out exactly which 2 it was, and we were able to get those fixed. And the lights were back on, but we did go 5 days without the lights on at night, and that creates concern, and a concern that is valid. And bringing these topics up with the engineers and the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission, they firmly believe that our wiring is in need of upgrade. Right now, it's scheduled out about 5 or 6 years on our plan of capital improvements, because it's going to be quite a bit of money. I mean, it could be $500,000. But OAC did reassure us that this is a very important airport to the Oklahoma network of airports, and that they believe that Guthrie Regional Airport should be lit at night, and there shouldn't be issues with it. So I think we got a good fighting chance of possibly seeing that be bumped up into possibly the fiscal year 2016, 2017 projects with some extra state money.
But from a practical point of view, how do you notify everybody when that happens?
We send out a note, and basically it's a notice to airmen that every pilot's supposed to check before they fly. Granted, if someone doesn't check it, we want to make sure they're still informed, and so we had basically emails out and flyers out to people that it could concern. Because if for some reason they check all the notos at their destination but forget to check the home airport, that could be a problem. So we try to help everybody out as much as we can.
So how does that work? The transformers were blown or wiring inappropriate, and those are, that PCL, pilot control lighting,
Mhm.
those are all low voltage lighting, right? And you bump up the,
It's not low voltage yet. We're planning on replacing it
With low voltage. Right now, we're high continuous current.
this is all still it's all 110.
That's why you have to have transformers.
Yeah.
You have to boost it every so many feet.
Oh,
5,
okay.
6, 7,
And the problem was that the main wire itself had a break in it, which caught the wires of the transformers on fire. Basically, when we uncovered it, it was just a charred remains underneath the ground.
Really?
On top of the ground, you couldn't tell there was anything wrong, but when we dug it up, it crystallized everything. There's basically shooting electricity through dirt and to make it work. And so we've corrected that issue, but the fear is there could be another issue at some point, so we want to be prepared for it.
So all the lights were out, including the runway end lights and the,
Basically, anything connected to the runway circuits, and so all the runway lights,
So it was
Pappy's,
dark.
or the reels, Pappy stayed on. It was dark. We still had the taxiway lights on, but
oh,
that was it.
Don't have to line up my own.
Yep, yeah, exactly. It gets a little narrow doing that.
from a
And
pilot's
most pilots
from a
would
piloting point of
routinely
view.
check. Is that,
Yep,
Can you light
yeah,
it?
it was part of that.
Situation?
You got a good landing line.
If you had a good landing light and the moon was out, I'd say you have a great shot of, having a successful landing. But
Yeah.
if you weren't comfortable with it, there's plenty of other airports. The rest of the night, you
So you know how high
so
the
you
Walmart
still
sign
could
is?
try to land if you
It'd
wanted
just be a
to.
little
could,
bit
yeah.
surprised you're clicking that.
Is that, would that be commonly done, Dick? I mean, would some people go ahead and do that?
No, it's like Justin said, on a full moon night, that wouldn't be, that would be a problem.
because once you're landing light, when you're about 100 feet off the ground, it illuminates very well underneath where you're at. But and the Pappies were still working, so they could have a glide slope in.
Oh, okay.
But it's something you don't want to deal with every day. So fortunately, we're fixed and hope to keep it that way. Let's see, we had the light at the fuel tank. We're trying to get that back up and working. Currently, it's off. The wires have gone bad, and so what we're having an issue with is everything is blast proof basically through the conduit. In order to either rerun wire or rerun the blast proof conduit, spark proof conduit, it's going to be expensive. So right now we're trying to figure out what's our best alternative, and I'm going to be working on that.
What kind of lights do we have on the hangars
Hanger
out onto the ramp?
typically.
The reason I ask is the other night when we was out here and had to move the jets,
Hardly
it
anything.
was dark.
Yeah.
Is there any thought of trying to get some lights out here on the
I would
hangars
say
to shine out on the ramp?
I would say we could talk with Glenn and see what we can do on this hangar. We could talk with Spirit Wing and see if what we can do on their hangar. And Zimco the same. The easiest one to work with would probably be this hangar since it's city owned or airport owned. And then with Spirit Wing and Zimco, it would probably be a conversation they'd be willing to have because it would also provide security for them because it would be a lit area. I'll start working on that in our next board meeting. I'll see what we can come up with, what kind of recommendations we have. Because if you've seen Guardian Aerial Patrol's hangar lit up at night, it illuminates everything out there. I think if we had those same type of lights.
It was really dark that night.
It was very dark, yeah, and it's one of those where we can't put lights on poles, we can't put, there's a lot of restrictions.
Yeah, and you don't want a real big floodlight out that
Sure.
way, but
Sure, but a little bit of light compared to what we had then would be advantageous.
yeah.
To add to the discussion while you're on it, we could raise the spectrum of the motion detector lights so it doesn't have to be on, every big lit up all the time, but the big lights could have that. I mean, I'd vote for that.
Sure.
If there's concern about the electric bill and so forth.
Sure. Hangar insurance notices have been sent out to individual hangars that we don't have their current insurance with. A lot of times this is not the hangar owner's fault. It's we are listed additionally insured with the insurance company, but we've noticed that the insurance companies are having a hard time sending it out. And we absolutely no doubt that each hangar owner has insurance. We just haven't gotten the paperwork, and so we've been having to send out a little reminder on that. And lastly, for community involvement, we had the Deer Creek Prairie Valley Boy and Girl Scouts came out for a tour, and we were able to tour Zipco and the Commemorative Air Force. It was just a wonderful time having local scouts come up from Edmond and be able to check out their airportsmen. So it was a great learning opportunity for them. They all got to sit in airplanes and get their pictures taken. So it was just a great time. As far as the financials go, if there's no questions on the manager's report, we're sitting in a great spot. We're not looking, there's no account line item that shows any worry at this point, percentage-wise of spending. Some of them show that we still have a lot of money. A lot of those are going to be fuel and maintenance of equipment, just because our season is coming up.
Okay, anybody got any questions on the financial?
Just quick
Yeah.
question. Fuel sales with the price of oil and everything, are you selling more? Are we?
There are a lot more people out flying. I actually, this Saturday, I happened to see Gale up at Ponca City for a fly-in breakfast that they do. And their normal aircraft coming in on a February would probably be anywhere, their last year's was one aircraft. This year, there had to have been 60 or 70, one month. But a lot of it has to do with weather.
Yeah.
But the fuel prices, it is encouraging people to fly. And it's great, because that's the limiting factor for a lot of pilots, is how much it costs in fuel. So when
Yeah, they got the $100 hamburger down now to 95.
There you go. There you go. Wonderful. Yeah, I know Glenn actually had 2 truckloads came in and filled up today, actually, just replenishing the stock, because it's been turning over real fast.
Really?
So it's actually doing really well, and the weather and the low fuel prices, doing great for aviation right now.
Okay, any other questions on the financial? Okay. The pilot's lounge, next item of discussion.
What's that?
We don't have to make a motion on that, do we?
Not on that one,
No.
nope, we're good. The Pilot's Lounge is basically under advertisement right now, and we'll be opening the bids on the 17th. And we'll be, basically, it'll follow the process of selecting the lowest, most confident bidder, and we'll go from there. I'm really excited to get the project started, and hopefully we'll be able to have a Pilot's Lounge here before summer, as long as we get some good bids.
What would be the length of time to do that, Justin?
I haven't heard a firm estimate, but talking to engineers not associated with the project, but looking at it, they're saying anywhere from 30 to 60 days we could have a up and running Pilot's Lounge, or at least ready to furnish, I guess we
Yeah.
could say. The project part of it would be finished, which would be fantastic. I think it would be great.
Okay, next item is discussion of pavement maintenance and approach lighting projects.
This project is also going to bid, when you're getting